Alright, hey, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna have to make this little quick update. Um, I just entered into this trade right here. We're currently up like 1 point something k, 1k. Yeah, we're about 1k up, and well, just making it. I'm working out right now, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail. But yeah, I just entered into this setup, and I'll see you guys with the outcome. Alright, hey, what's going on, guys? So in this setup, I mean, I already got it here. This setup ended up as a break even, unfortunately, which, honestly, I'm really happy about. Not because, of course, I did not secure profits, whatever, it doesn't matter. I care more about the actual setup. Was I right? Was my bias right? That I follow my system? Everything I did was perfect, apart from the fact that I made a little small mistake, which was I put my stop loss at break even instead of putting it at the protected structure, because this was a continuation. Protected loss right here, price is going to retrace, respect this protected structure, and then go for the high. Right now, I want to show you guys how easy trading actually is if you have a clear defined system that tells you exactly what you're looking for every single time. Okay, there were so many other pairs that I was looking at, but the only setup or pair that stood out to me was this one, because there was a clear target and the other pairs already had reached their targets early in London session. Okay, so I did not focus on any of them, and I just looked at CHF JPY, and I want to show you guys how easy it is, bro. Look at this. So we got our 4-hour change of character. So from last week, we already have a weak structure, which is right here, this high. All I've got to do is find out when market is going to try and go in that direction again, right? So this morning, we had this 1-hour unmitigated area of interest. Clearly, 1 hour is bullish, okay? 1 hour break of structure, and then 50-minute change of character. All I've got to do, which is, I was looking at this position in the morning, but I never took it. And all I've got to do is just enter and target the weak structure. It's that easy, okay? But later in London session, that setup that I actually took, we got a 50-minute break of structure. We go down to the 1 minute time frame. It's clearly trying to go in that direction. We got an impulsive push to the upside. We haven't reached the target yet, which is all the way up there. All I need to do is wait for a change of character in that direction, and then enter. And clearly, the little small mistake that I made was I didn't put the stop loss at the protected structure, which is why I ended up getting break even, and then price ended up going and hitting TP. Now, I want to tell you the little small difference that I made in my trading to go from unprofitable to profitable, and making trading so much easier for me. Okay, so I know a lot of people are they struggle with the higher time frame, and if you're someone that's not profitable and you just trade like the middle time frame and the lower time frame, specifically for the people that trade just the lower time frame, that try to enter trades on the 1 minute or 3 minute, I would suggest you guys to really, really and truly spend a lot of time getting really good at higher time frame. Because when I tell you, when you focus on the higher time frame and you get a very good understanding of where the market is trying to go, majority of the time, this majority can be like 70, even 60%. Because if you can get that right, all you've got to do is come down to the middle time frame or lower time frame, get setups going in the direction of the higher time frame, and I'm telling you right now, yeah, the risk to rewards you're going to be getting are going to be huge. First of all, like 4 risk to rewards, 3 risk to rewards, 5, okay? And even though you're only right 50% or 60% of the time, you're going to be extremely profitable, extremely profitable, right? So what I started doing was, first of all, you have to understand what phase you're in on the higher time frame, okay? So if we go and take a look at this this pair right here, what we're doing right now currently, we can clearly see that we are in the trend continuation phase. Okay, when you're in the trend continuation phase, it's very likely, and the highest probable trades will be when the market on the lower time frame and on the 15-minute time frame are going in the direction of the higher time frame. Okay, so if I were to be taking setups per se, let's say on Friday taking sells, let's say I was taking these continuations or whatever, look how it just reverses on me, right? Because I don't have the higher time frame in mind, but as soon as the higher time frame or the middle time frame shifted in the direction of the higher time frame, the first setup, as soon as it shifted, ended up hitting TP. Now, if I were to put this TP all the way up there, because this was in a very discounted area, I can almost guarantee you, just based off experience and the way the market is moving currently, it's most likely going to go and hit that TP for a 3.71 Vista reward. And to be honest, if you were to refine the entry, you can even get a 4. So you go from taking some stupid loss to getting a nice 3 Vista reward or a 4 Vista reward in profit. And if you don't want to risk going for that much, you're still getting a 2.5, which is insane. Because you have to understand, like, just getting a 2 Vista reward, risking like 1% on a 200k, you're still making like $4,000. I know it's not about the P&L. You should be really focusing on really getting good at trading first of all, and not looking at the P&L itself, okay? Because the more you try to make money, the less of a chance or the longer it will take for you to become profitable. Because if you forget about the money and just focus on the aspect of getting good at trading itself, I guarantee you will become profitable. It's that easy, bro. So, what you have to do is you have to understand what you're doing on the higher time frame. So, for example, you have trend continuation phase, and you have retracement, pullback. Okay, and then you have to understand: am I trading with the trend? Am I trading counter trend? Okay, you have to ask these questions to yourself, and you have to understand what phase you're in of the market. Okay, so for example, let's say if you were trading against the trend on the 1 minute time frame and you're not supporting it with anything, right? What are the probability going to be of you taking a win? So as I was saying, the 1 minute alone is not good enough. Well, sorry, yeah, the 1 minute alone is not going to make it profitable if it's not supported by other things. I was waiting for this setup right here. Well, fair enough. It just went and absolutely never come back, which is fair enough. All good. For example, if I was to take another trade, it would probably be waiting for price to come back into this zone right here to continue the trend, because we have a clear target, like I've mentioned. Let me just completely delete the buy limit so I don't have to. All right. So the 1 minute itself is not good enough to make you profitable. You have to understand that you need to have a clear direction, first of all, displayed to you before you take trades in that direction. So, honestly speaking, that is basically the only thing that I did to go from an unprofitable trader to becoming profitable. Okay, you just have to really, really get good at and master the higher time frame. That's what you've got to do. If you master the higher time frame, forget about the profits. Just focus on getting good at actually understanding where the market is trying to go in the long run, right? And then once you see that you're getting the market's direction right majority of the time, then just get good at your entries, and that is literally it. That's all I do. For example, I don't know if I don't think I've showed you this. Well, not in this video, but I did go through it in the other video. But basically, if we just take a look at this trade right here that I took, and I went and did a little breakdown in the other video, right? We can clearly see that we were bullish, right? And we've got a clear trend. So all I've got to do is wait for price to come into a discounted area and just give me a market structure shift. And this market structure shift could have been up here. It could, and in this time specifically, it happened all the way towards the protected structure. Now, what you have to understand is when you're actually trading, when you're in this area, you need to know that you're in the retracement phase, right? So when you're taking trades, you're not going to be taking longs until the market shifts back to bullish. And when it shifts back to bullish, all you have to do is take continuations on the 50-minute time frame, or 1 minute time frame. So just to give you an example, right, of some trades that you could be taking. So like, look, we on the 1 hour time frame, we got a shift. As soon as we get the shift, all we need to know is we need to figure out when the market is going to shift back to bullish. That's all, because that is our indication that price now wants to move in the same direction of the overall trend. Okay, so if we go and take a look at, for example, this right here, we got a break of structure, then we have a change of character, right? All we need is for price to come back into a discounted area, which is somewhere here, and then we just need to buy. Stop loss below this, TP at the 50-minute week structure, which is all the way up there. That's one trade right there done. Then what do we have to do? We have to go on the 50-minute time frame. This is going to be our next 50-minute break of structure. All we need is price to come back into a discounted area once again. And we just need to change our character in the direction of the overall trend, which is right here. The high gets taken. Yeah, this high, this high is better because this high would not be that good. And then we want price to come into a discounted area. Stop loss below this low. TP all the way at the high. That's a 3.18 risk to reward. Okay, nice simple trade. Then what you have to do is you have to wait again. And then at one point, it's going to end up failing anyway, right? So this is our next 50-minute break of structure. Let's see what happens. So price comes and it ends up going for the target. And it hits the target anyway. So we will not be taking this trade. And then, for example, let's say when it comes back and it respects this low, let's see if we can get a change of character. You get a it's an okay change of character, not one that I would like, to be honest. But on the way back, it shifted order flow back to bearish. But here it did it too. So actually, to be honest with you, this is a valid trade. And then this ended up as a loss, which is completely fine. Then all I've got to do is just wait for price to shift back to bullish on the 50-minute time frame, and then I've got to do the same thing. So we go down to the 1 minute again. At this stage, as it's breaking, we have one trade. We have another trade right here. Because we have a clear direction of where the market is trying to go. And all we need to do is just take continuations now. Until you get stopped out. So you get stopped out here. And then you get a market structure shift back to bullish. And all I got to do now again is just look for continuations. Again, look. So we got, boom, right here. And if you're not sure, if you're right, then you can wait for a change of character up. You would take this instead, and then you would target the high. This is the next break of structure. Let's see, any of the price never comes back. I mean, it does come back, but it's later. And actually, to be fair, I should have been looking up here. Break of structure, POI, boom. This is the next break of structure. And then this is the protected low. And it ends up shifting all the flow bearish, right? But then, I mean, this is in spread hours, so I would be waiting. And then after the spread hours, we got this change of character up. This is our break of structure. So if you were to be taking anything, it would be this one right here. TP all the way up there. You'd get stopped out or break even. That depends. And then all you're doing is you're waiting for price to shift back to bullish, because we are waiting for price to realign to go for this higher time frame target. Okay, so what can price react from? So now you start looking at areas where price is holding liquidity. Where is price holding liquidity? It's going to be all the blocks, unmitigated areas, and imbalances. And as we can clearly see, let me just change the color of this. It ended up reacting off this order block. As soon as it comes into the order block, we get our change of character bullish. And of course, what you have to understand is you have to also look at the way it changes character. Was it impulsively? Did I leave behind any confluences? That's actually something that is very important to me. So you'd enter this. You could target just the week structure if you want, but since it's a continuation of the overall trend, that would be my target realistically, because this would be just a 50-minute continuation moving in the same direction of the overall higher time frame trend. Okay, and then in that same leg, if we pay attention, I mean, this is going to be the last example, but in that same leg, if we pay attention to what we are doing, we can see that this is our next breaker structure. Pay attention to this leg. Look, there's no other breaks or structures. This is not a valid one. These are too small. Okay, external structure is not bullish, correct? So all I've got to do is take continuations from discounted areas of the overall external 1 minute structure, because we know that the higher time frame is aligned, the middle time frame is aligned, and now all I've got to do is take continuations on the middle or the lower time frame. Okay, discounted area, stop loss below this, target the external structure, boom. Next breaker structure, wait for price to come into discounted area, it never comes back, all good. Okay, this is our next breaker structure, discounted area, boom, weak structure, new external break, external structure, discounted area, stop loss below the protected structure, boom, new breaker structure, and then all you've got to do is just keep on taking continuations in the overall trend. That's it. So for example here, external structure, but let's see, has the higher time frame target been reached yet? Now here specifically, the higher time frame target has been reached. So now the probability of this playing out is going to be lower. Okay, as soon as it gets reached, what ends up happening, I mean, there was an imbalance that price had to fill as well, but as soon as it gets reached, if you were to take it, put the stop loss below the protected structure, it ends up getting stopped out. But on the 15-minute time frame, we end up getting equal lows, so then you can use those equal lows to then continue the trend up. But now it's lower probability, so now I will be waiting for a retracement. So I'll be waiting until there's an extreme and external 50-minute change of character to then take sells until price comes into a discounted area on the 4-hour time frame. It doesn't have to be specifically like very discounted. As long as there's enough and good enough confirmation that price wants to go back in the opposite direction, that's good enough. Okay, and then I will be doing the exact same thing. It's that simple. You need to just know where the higher time frame is trying to go, and you just have to scale in on the 15-minute time frame or the 1 minute. Well, using the 15-minute, you would scale into the 1 minute, and then using the 1 hour, you can scale into the 15-minute, which is what I did before. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So what you have to do is you have to really focus on the higher time frame direction of the market. So for example, if I were to be taking anything right now, I would be looking at, after this, I mean this break structure, yeah, break structure right there. So I'd be looking at, for example, you got this imbalance right here. We're targeting the 4-hour high right now. It's that simple. That's what I would be looking at. Very simple setup. And that's it. Just wait for price to have enough volume and clear target, and just target that higher time frame target. Just need to get very good at the overall trend.